Hello and welcome to episode 447 of the Steel Cage Podcast. My name is Derek Montia, occasionally known as the bronze medalist on this podium. Joining me, of course, is the two superior athletes of this podcast. First, to my left is the silver medalist coming in from the Pacific Northwest. It's Uncle Beek.
Oh, man,
Sorry.
silver. That's
Sorry.
all right. That's all right.
You had
Hi,
really high
everybody.
scores in the third round, but
I was so stoked. I was like, come on, gold, come on.
no.
It's the Russian judges. They got me again.
It's the Russian Olympic Committee every single time.
Yeah.
But let's give credit where credit's due to our gold medalist and our producer of this podcast. It's the Neo X.
Hey.
Hello, and thanks for joining us in the video stream on Twitch and or YouTube.
Welcome.
Appreciate that. So my question is, with the Olympics in mind, if you could do the Olympics, what sport would you do?
Oh, like what sport would I participate in personally?
Yeah, personally, like if you had the ability to like train for years and you know what, I want to be an Olympian in this sport, what would it be?
Do I have to actually be good at this sport?
Well, he's saying you would train for it. I imagine you would be trying to be good.
Okay. Because see, that limits me, right? Like,
exactly.
Because I think the first thing I think is I would want to be one of those like high dive, divers.
Yeah,
that
diving.
does, like, all the flips and shit, that shit amazes me because I can't flip once. I might be able to do a senton, maybe.
I want to do that really ridiculous one where you ski for a hell of far time and then you shoot a gun.
Oh yeah.
What's that?
I have no idea. I've never shot a gun. I've never
It's the
skied.
Winter Olympics.
But it sounds like a good time.
It's an actual thing. It's an actual thing. I will say I really enjoyed seeing skateboarding in the Olympics a lot this year.
That was rad.
It was on TV a lot, and it was just really cool to see. Like, I don't know, that's the epitome for me of competition, the way that they go out there and they just try to outdo each other, and there's a lot of love, a lot of hugs and stuff between the competitors.
Yeah, the culture of it all.
Yeah. I think my favorite...
the wrestler. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
No, I was going to say, I think my favorite thing was the high jumpers that opted to share the gold medal.
I know that was sweet.
I know that probably pissed a lot of alpha males off, but man, it was a beautiful moment between two human beings who at the end of the day both get to go home and say, I won a gold medal. Nobody at the fucking end of the day will care that you...
Wait, the Olympics all agree? Like, okay, you guys, shucks, that's so adorable. Give me a gold.
Co-medalist.
Gold. Reminds me of when Lay Cool were cold champions. They had both.
Yes.
But do you guys see that wrestler who got bit by another wrestler during the match?
No.
Yeah, there was news today.
One of the
I forget the guy's name, but during the match, he bit down on the guy's inner arm while they were like wrestling.
Oh, snap.
It was gnarly. It was funny in the news. It mentioned this guy got bit instead of the one guy who was doing the name that was mentioned was the person who got chewed on, not the person doing the biting. You actually had to go into the article to find out who was the biter.
Oh, those deceiving headlines, right? They never get it right.
It was like, man, who's more important in this scenario? The guy who got bit or the guy doing the biting? I want to know who the crazy asshole is that's going around biting people at the Olympics.
Right.
The biter.
Not the
bitee.
bitee.
Speaking of ridiculous headlines, I can't believe how many headlines I've seen telling us that SummerSlam is going to get canceled in Las Vegas, boyos.
Hey, smart guy over here. Haven't bought a ticket yet.
Yes, I also did not buy a ticket, but I will be going, hopefully, unless it's back at the Thunderdome, which apparently it might be. So
what are the odds on that?
I don't think it's very likely.
But is it dependent on Las Vegas? Is it dependent on?
I think it's dependent on Las Vegas, the situation, how bad COVID
situation
next month.
What does he have to do with this?
Basically, the situation has COVID and he is spreading it all over fucking Las Vegas.
That's a dated reference there, man. Holy shit.
But yeah, no, there is there is all sorts of, increases in COVID across the nation in a lot of areas that are highly populated. And Las Vegas obviously is going to be just not only constantly populated, but that particular weekend, as we've discussed in the past, is crazy. Between the Pacquiao fight and SummerSlam, there's like a metal music festival that's going on.
And then Wrestle Swap.
Yeah, Wrestle Swap is happening. GCW is going to be out there. It's going to be a crazy weekend. And, this whole increase in COVID, this lack of vaccination, everything seems to be pushing us back into where we were, a year and a half ago.
Yeah. I saw a meme today where somebody posted, it was somebody with a vaccine with the vaccine who got COVID, and then they blame it on the unvaccinated people, and that's somehow mocking us, which is no, this is the reality of the scenario. COVID is still around in droves because of you unvaccinated motherfuckers.
Right.
Sure, we can get it and pass it around still, but we'll be okay a little bit. You guys are just rampantly going around and getting this bullshit.
Yeah, they're dropping like flies because, if I'm not mistaken, our vaccine efficacy against the new variants are still in the 99 percentile.
Well, and I think some get as low as 80%, but still 80% is.
Well, I'm sorry. I should have clarified when it comes into like breakthrough cases. So if either one of us got COVID, like our survival rates, is in the 99 percentile.
Right. I saw they had an x-ray of like someone who was vaccinated's lungs who had COVID versus someone who was unvaccinated. I mean, it's still not a clear comparison because those are two different human beings, but it's scary. And it's kind of wild because at the end of the day, I think so many of us just want two things: everybody to be safe and everything to go back to normal. Right. So I find it really odd for it to be this point of contention, especially when people feel like they still need to do their own research and such on the virus, on the vaccine. And what research are you doing? What research are you actually doing is my question.
I'm no expert. How am I supposed to trust this expert?
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
They put $65 million worth of research into it. That's why you should trust them. But
I don't know.
I don't know.
Misinformation, that's the real national crisis, my friends.
Yeah.
But anyway, SummerSlam, let's hope it doesn't get canceled because we want to go see it. I know I'm going to Las Vegas no matter what. So Here's the thing. You can cancel SummerSlam all you want. I will still be there. I will still go to Kenny Omega Mart. I will still go to the Wrestle Swap. Hopefully that still happens. I know GCW isn't canceling because of no COVID. Fucking Nick Gage will fight COVID in the middle of the ring at the fucking area by the Nerd.
Yeah, and since we're all affiliated, we're going to be safe.
Yeah,
I'm just going to mask up. I don't give a fuck if I'm sweaty. I'm not going to touch any motherfuckers. I'm going to be Purell like a motherfucker looking like a weirdo, but
I'm going to hug
I'm staying
your
safe.
beard off.
Oh, maybe you guys vaccinated motherfuckers can give me a hug.
Yeah, that's it. See, there's another reason to get vaccinated. You get to hug Uncle Beek, but not everybody. You know who definitely doesn't get to hug Uncle Beek?
Oh, segue, motherfucker.
Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt has been released by the WWE, folks.
Oh, glad you called him Bray Wyatt because I got into some shit for calling the Wyndham this week.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what he's going to be called, I'm sure. But it's a really weird situation, right? I will say that Bray Wyatt is one of those people that was not misused or mistreated or not given a chance, right?
No.
What's weird with me with Bray Wyatt,
he was quote unquote injured.
Sure, yeah, right. But he was cleared, apparently, according to reports, and he was preparing for a comeback. What's weird to me is Bray Wyatt seemed to be a success. Am I wrong? Did you guys? How were your feelings? Like, don't get me wrong. I will agree with what a lot of people say, which is that he didn't have great matches. The Fiend thing, being invincible and all that, really didn't work well. But I still found myself to be sport entertained by him. What are your thoughts? Beek, I'll go to you first.
I will agree with your overall sentiment. Yeah, definitely sports entertained by him. I didn't care for the Fiend because, as we've talked before, it's so many gimmicks all at one time. It's a little bit ridiculous, and he's again, super powered. Like, what can you do? But I think he himself was an incredibly creative person. I thought the Funhouse version or whatever, the like kid host version of Bray Wyatt was really freaking interesting and entertaining. Like, that was great. I think he's a success. He was WWE champion. He's given a myriad of opportunities, a lot more than anybody else has been given. The thing that WWE has a problem is they'll go for a little bit and then they just let off the gas, and then they go for a little bit and then just let off the gas, and it's really unfortunate for people's careers. And sometimes that's injury, but then sometimes it's just them, and by them I mean Vince getting maybe bored with
hot and cold. Yeah, right. So, Neo, I'll ask you this. Does the Fiend gimmick, did it put Bray in a corner where he couldn't, like, bounce back into a new persona from this particular very weird kind of thing?
I really thought that the Fiend persona was so multi-dimensional that it could have continued to evolve and maybe, become an overall success if it was really put, if the time was put in and the proper creative was behind it, maybe even more creative control behind the actual talent, Bray Wyatt. I thought that was great, because what do we got to show for the Fiend and everything that he's created? Alexa Bliss, the Lily Evolution, and that's not really going anywhere. So what's to say, like, they're not going to pump the brakes on Alexa next, because there's just nothing going for it now.
Somebody suggested if the WWE actually owns the Fiend character, making it like a symbiote, like, Venom, that goes from character to character. And I thought it was interesting, but it's not something that WWE, I think, can pull off.
They're not smart enough to do that.
But imagine all the Funko Pop characters, you guys.
It's not that they're not smart enough.
Cesaro, we got Fiend, fucking Seth Rollins, like all the Funko Pop characters, they would go mad.
See, I don't hate that idea, but again, WWE doesn't really do fun things like that, right? And I mean, I almost feel like the Fiend might have been a bit of his downfall because it wasn't working, and that was his wrestling persona. Like, I would have maybe liked to see him wrestle as the Funhouse Firefly version of Bray a bit more, just a bit. I'm just saying like a bit more, and maybe that
he could even like tried to get rid of the Fiend, like him himself, like trying to escape from his body or whatever. I'm trying to expel it from his body.
There could have been a Funhouse Wyatt versus Fiend Wyatt match. I mean, all you had to do is get a body double, for the Fiend, and they could wrestle them, wrestle each other.
I think them melting him was the downfall, because when they melted him and he comes back as this like super monster, it was at that point I was like, oh my god, dude, like another fucking mask.
Well, the power of Vicks Vaporub, Beek.
I thought he was Robitussin.
Some Alcalado. That's it, man.
That's
Alcalado cured that right up. It was getting like, it was like the 7th movie of a horror series is what it was. Like. It was like Jason Goes to Space. You know, there's a doctor eating a heart now at this point.
Jason goes with Ernest.
But Neo brought up a very interesting point. It was something I was going to propose to you guys, but the whole Alexa thing, with Alexa essentially having his gimmick now. Mickey James sent out a searing tweet the other morning when WWE had put the news out that they had let Bray Wyatt go and wished him his best on his future endeavors, the monsters. She said, I think what you meant to say was, thank you so much for coming up with such an incredible gimmick time and time again. One so cool and over, we really didn't know how to book it right. So we gave it to someone else so we can make all the money off it and let you go. And then shrug emoji and mind blown emoji.
Dude, but read the Ronda one.
Oh,
Ronda fucking scorched earth at the fans.
Yeah, you marks.
Absolute no fucks about what thought of her. Yeah, no, that was.
Yeah, while you pull that up, one thing I wanted to bring up is I remember all the Fiend merchandise selling. Like, I remember just going to a handful of live events.
They're still selling it.
Yes, case in point. I read once he was let go that they were still selling his merch, and I just remember that gimmick being over. I remember kids having the masks. I remember like adults wearing the shirts.
Yeah. The gloves were even a big seller.
People
love the stuff. I wanted the McMahon puppet. The devil.
Yeah, the McMahon puppet was rad.
You know, they gone as far as to make, you know, the beef jerky title with the face on it. I mean, they did a lot.
Yeah, they
did a lot with that guy, and
it's almost what it was.
It looked delicious
for sure.
It was a merchandising machine more than he was a wrestler.
Yeah.
Right. Because what
case? I mean, and then it, you know, it kind of goes in hand with what Mickey James is saying.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. So they
and Alexa is just not pulling it off. A lot, dude. I know some people like it and it appeals to some people named Lily. I mean, I get that. Makes sense to me. But the overall thing is she's so, and now trying to like baby face it now going against Alexa, it makes it even more
and what are the powers?
Eva.
Names. Evolution and Doudrop.
Yeah. Doudrop. Bringing Lily and Alexa into that as babyface characters, and then the video was just so bad.
You know what really bothered me is people are talking about who's going to be Lily. They were talking about like Chelsea Green because she had mentioned coming back as Lily, and it was like, wait, hold on, we're not doing the Sister Abigail bullshit again now, are we?
We are.
We're not, and I don't care. I don't
like
care.
Literally everybody's gonna be Lily. Who's Lily? This person's gonna be Lily. Shut the.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't know, man. I'll say that for me, WWE has not been working no matter what the storyline is. I still really enjoy what they do on SmackDown at times. I'm still really loving Roman Reigns and everything that they got. And of course, I'm excited about Big E being the Money in the Bank title holder, but or briefcase holder.
And making love to it on the ring post.
Oh.
If there was ever a time,
you knew that was going to happen.
That was so ridiculous.
If there was ever a time to be a turnbuckle, that was it. If you ever thought about being a turnbuckle, you would have went over on that one.
That's some gyrations right there. But yeah, no, they just don't have.
Even Roman and them it's gotten one note at this point. Like it's still good. It's still the great storyline, but now it's like, okay, they're together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's see that. Let's see them run roughshod through SmackDown.
But that's predictable. So I mean, it's got to be.
It's safe. It's predictable and it's safe, and it could build them up for their fall. But
dirty bad guys.
Yeah. You know,
it's just. I think the thing for me is I realized, like a lot of people have realized, that I kind of labor through episodes of Raw and SmackDown. I don't have this sense of enjoyment to see what's coming up next or to see what's going to happen next week. Not nearly the same way that I've gotten out of AEW. And AEW, I mean, I'm almost on a Neo level of markness with AEW now, just because
I'm over, dude. It's the water's fine. I'm less stressed about doing these shows nowadays.
Well, and here's what I was telling my wife.
Smokes weed once.
Neo and the other AEW fans, there's cool fans, there's not so cool fans. I think the one thing that makes all the fans insufferable when it comes to this entire situation is anybody taking any kind of side and acting like we're some sort of weird fucking metaphorical soldiers in a war between two companies again, like the WWF, WCW days. I will say that AEW has had its moments where it looked like it was a bit off course, but the last 5 weeks have just been, for me, incredible to watch. Like one week after the next. The only thing I have to criticize about them is how funny it is they even put together a very special video package on them leaving Jacksonville, only for them to have a show like 4 weeks later where they came back to Jacksonville. But
yeah, only leave to come back home again, Derek.
I know.
Ergo the show Homecoming.
But I really enjoyed Homecoming. I guess that's another thing is they put
awesome. They put it over big. That reminds me of maybe a guy pretending to retire.
Yeah, right. You know a thing about that. But what has been your favorite things about AEW lately? Because I feel like there's a lot of stuff to talk about.
Neil, this is your place to shine, brother.
Yeah, man. I'm still the biggest fan of Over the Forbidden Door, especially. I mean, it's got me to watch Impact more. It's got me to watch New Japan Strong on Fridays even more. And I mean, and I just think it's a great time. Like if you want to work for a company that doesn't have a ceiling or that doesn't have restrictions, at this point, in my opinion, like it's got to be at AEW. The fact that you have talents like Malakai Black, Miro, those who came over from WWE and they are striving. And then not only that, I mean, you're getting to learn about Darby Allin. You're getting to learn about, Ethan Page. You're getting to know about like all these other rising stars.
Let's talk about that.
Jack
really
Perry.
Fast.
I think it's a great balance between new and vintage wrestlers.
Let's talk about that really fast, because I love the match between Ethan Page and Darby Allin so much. That coffin match just had everything for me.
Wicked.
Like, it was crazy how good it was, how much, just everything from the Back to the Future 3 style beginning of the match where he had the metal plate strapped to his back as he ran backwards into him, to, the little skateboard spot, to the coffin drop in the coffin. I mean, just everything about it.
That was 3 weeks ago on free television.
Right.
Like, that blows my mind.
And it was honestly, like, I sent this in the chat, but I meant this 100%. It's one of my favorite matches I think I've ever seen. AEW has done that quite a bit lately. I can't say enough about how fucking impressed I was with Chris Jericho versus Nick Gage on, again, free television, where these guys just did it. And like, AEW let Nick Gage be Nick fucking Gage. Nick Gage was Nick fucking Gage. There was no PG television version of Nick Gage. He
outside of them saying frickin'.
Frickin', yeah, that's the closest to editing they got.
Can't curse.
Snapped a light tube over his knee and then grabbed the short end like a shiv and just started it in the
that
chair.
Was nasty.
That's the one spot I didn't think they would do, and I'm like, okay. I literally had to tweet out, I was fucking wrong. They did that spot.
I think 4 or 5 spots before that, I think I said to my wife, who was sitting next to me and thoroughly enjoying this match, because she has never seen shit like this. Like, she doesn't watch any kind of hardcore match. I don't really like them myself that much, so I don't like show her how crazy it was. It doesn't mean that at times there's not that perfect place for a hardcore match. This was one of those times. It reminds me of one of my favorite hardcore matches between AR Fox and Strickland, the Hell of War match at Lucha Underground that I was privileged to be present for. Like, that match blew my mind. But again, that also had the fact that I was there watching these guys from like 20 feet away and just couldn't believe what they were doing to each other. That match between Gage and Jericho had the same feeling of that. Like, some of the matches that they have featured on free television have been just some of the best matches I've seen all year, and
WWE rarely lets them run on full cylinders. Like, WWE is like, please just like go out there and run at a maybe a 3.5 at best, and then we'll do check it out in editing. But on AEW full bore the whole time. It's fucking great. And the plate you talked about reminded me of Bret Hart using the plate on Goldberg.
Yes. Yeah.
And I wanted to bring up a point. When I heard and saw the advertisement for Nick Gage coming on AEW, I thought back to, you remember when Cody was doing his open challenge?
Yes.
You remember when they brought like all these people to go up against Cody? Warhorse was a perfect example. I mean, and they didn't change anyone. They let them all do their thing.
Yeah.
Anybody who came over from the independents, they let them do their thing. I like the fact that, the newer talents are also learning how to wrestle, in front of TV. And that's why, honestly, like if you're a fan of Dynamite, just you're gonna blow your mind what you see on AEW Dark and Dark Elevation, which is also for free at your convenience as long as it's after a Monday or Tuesday. Because they pull some really good stuff off on that free programming.
The AEW we were talking about earlier about the WWE guys, not only did they have great independent talent, they are working the guys in from the WWE seamlessly, and it doesn't seem forced. Like Miro, I like this new Redeemer character, and
he's God's favorite champion,
badass but hilarious at the same time. Like God gave him a double-jointed wife or something.
Oh yeah, like flexible wife.
Yeah, it was.
That I'm motivated by two things in this world: a vengeful God and my double-jointed wife.
Yeah, like that line was killer. Miro's hilarious and a badass. But they highlight independent talent, and you see all the time guys are giving it a look at. Like they even gave Nick Wayne, Buddy Wayne's son, a look recently. So that's pretty exciting. Kid's 16 and already getting a look from AEW. That's pretty exciting. They're invested in the future is what I'm trying to say there.
It's not just that they're investing in the future, it's their ability to make people actual stars, right? And I will say that there are a couple of people that maybe others considered to be stars before they came to AEW, like Hangman Adam Page. I did not like Adam Page, and I've disclosed that on this podcast many times. But I had all of my own reasons, right? He was on Ring of Honor with Adam Cole at the same time. Didn't like that. I like Adam Cole, baby. I don't like that. I mean, both of your last names have 4 letters. What the fuck? There was also his
so ridiculous.
I didn't like it.
You're really reaching on that one.
He was a cowboy. I didn't like the cowboy. Took the cowboy shit too far. No, but I also didn't watch Ring of Honor regularly, so it didn't have a chance to build him up to me. I just see him at live shows or when we went to WrestleMania weekend. I just didn't like him. I don't like you.
He had a great storyline progression in Ring of Honor, going from a young boy to being part of this group of legends to then striking out on his own. Yeah, read a great story.
And that's the thing with AEW. That's what they've done with him as well. They've given him an absolutely tremendous storyline. Coming in with this association, it almost feels like his entire friendship with the Elite was all a setup for a storyline for once they got to AEW. But there was this whole thing with him and Kenny being, tag partners, and just everywhere it's gone since then, leading up to him essentially being the guy that needs to beat Kenny. My favorite thing though was when he came out with the Dark Order last week in the 5-on-5 match, and they finally, that was the moment, right? Like, I've been watching AEW pretty consecutively, but I think I've missed some stuff, but it felt like he's never really joined the Dark Order until that moment, right? He had the matching shirt, everybody was wearing purple bandanas, like that felt like that was the moment that he joined Dark Order, and then only to break up with him this week. What a roller coaster. What an emotional roller coaster. Who's going to get custody of Johnny Hungy? That's the most important thing. I want him to go with him. He can be his Pancho Villa, and he can.
I love Uno. I'll just let him go.
Yeah,
let him go.
Right.
That
entire story, I think that entire story to me has been one of the best things I've ever seen in pro wrestling, because they've made me care so much about the Dark Order and Hangman Adam Page. That was not the way this was supposed to go. Obviously, Brody was not supposed to die. This entire situation with them recruiting Adam Page was meant for it to be a rivalry eventually between Brody and Adam Page that went on, right? And I mean, this is not the way life goes, but the way that they pivoted with this situation and made it the thing that they did, it was great. It's just, at times I didn't know where they were going with it. And man, they made me care about that way more than I ever expected to. But
and to think of the Dark Order went from Uno with all these half-naked dudes that he was sitting on as a giant throne, which I thought was so cool looking.
When Uno was super chubby,
but all those motherfuckers were there, and he's just sitting on them so rad. But to what they've gone from, evolving themselves into what they are now, And that's a fun storyline too, where everyone originally is going to be like, these guys are lame, but no, it's rad. It's a whole cool story.
And that's also considering if you've been watching BTE and watching all the cool bits of the Dark Order.
What about BET?
BTE, Being the Elite.
Oh, I thought you said BET.
Well, yeah. And I also wanted to share with you guys my favorite Hangman Adam Page moment. Right here. Let me find the box here. So you guys see that? Okay.
Get in trouble for this?
Yeah. No, it's fine. It's not on YouTube.
Oh, when they're still together.
It's been the biggest accomplishment of my career, and the first chance you get, you want to take it away from me. Can't walk
You were just a jobber in Ring of Honor. We brought you to the Bullet Club.
What's this chip on your shoulder anyway? Oh, the chip on the
That's like my favoriteest thing in the world. You were just a jobber in Ring of Honor. Bullet Club. Like they're so shooting in the square. It was hilarious. I love that whole segment was awesome.
Well, and honestly, that's kind of a great example of AEW as a whole, right? Like we live in a world where everybody knows, maybe not everything, but everybody knows a lot about professional wrestling, right?
And the internet is just, it makes it so fucking easy.
There's too much information out there, right?
We're overexposed all the time.
We want to know spoilers, but at the same time, if we hear a spoiler when we weren't seeking it out, we're like, fucking A. It's so we're very fickle that way. Like I want to know what's gonna happen, but
if I find out by accident,
I'm very fickle that way. Where like if I accidentally open up Twitter because it's muscle memory, so and then I saw like a champion, I'm like,
and it happens entirely too often, right?
It happens all the like I was texting Schlag about it, and it was the worst.
AEW, I feel like in that world, right? Whereas WWE lives in this, kind of ridiculous world of
forbidden doors.
Thinking they can control everything, and they can have, like, I don't know, like WWE would never have a Bullet Club member on to face somebody else and then throw the Bullet Club logo up on the Titantron. No, they couldn't do that, right? So much so that when it happened on AEW, I was like, oh my God, that's the Bullet. What's happening right now? Oh yeah, AEW just runs their own fucking shit.
And again,
they don't live by their rules,
To further expand upon that, Jay White is on Impact.
Oh yeah,
there's a Bullet Club feud going on there. Chris Bay is in the Bullet Club now.
He is Bullet Club. Yep, absolutely.
Bay Club.
Bay Club. Yeah,
whatever. So I mean, again, like this forbidden door just opens up these, these hallways into different stories and different fantasy bookings and different, like scenarios that could happen. And that's why I continue to champion the idea that it's the best time to be a wrestling fan right now. Yeah. Because there's just so much more out there for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we live in a universe where Danhausen exists.
Oh, very nice. Very
count your blessings, kids.
Yeah. We live in a universe where Chris Jericho is facing all of
you son of a bitch.
What's going on?
It was too easy. It was too good of a setup.
I loved it. Chris Jericho's doing what, buddy?
Chris Jericho in the MJF feud.
Oh, beauty. The labors of Jericho. It's quite the exciting time to be a wrestling fan. We got freaking Hoovy showing up, Nick Gage, just because of this labors of Jericho. I'm enjoying it. What's the next labor?
Well, it's going to be Wardlow. He's got to fight against Wardlow. This is the fourth labor, and MJF, that rat fink, is the special guest referee.
That son of a bitch. Uh-huh. Not to blow up that guy's spot too much. He did send me a nice DM about my dog.
Shut up. No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. MJF sent me a nice. He said, "I hope your buddy gets better."
Oh. Yeah. Well, one time I stole his scarf and his ZZW championship belt, and he doesn't even know it.
He'll probably never say a nice thing again to me just because. Hopefully, nobody on this podcast says anything to him.
Oh, I'm gonna fucking tell him.
You're shooting on me there, Beek.
I'm gonna tell him. But yeah, no, I've enjoyed that way more than I thought I was going to. It's really been a highlight every single week.
The implosion of the Inner Circle when they've introduced MJF, and then you just gotta remember, man, like we got there when we got to this point with the labors of Jericho. We got there because of everything else that's happened in the past and everything that has happened with MJF, with the Best Friends, with Orange Cassidy. It's still going and it's still relevant, and there's still continuity to that.
There's continuity to the Juventud Guerrera and Chris Jericho storyline, like that. They've brought so much continuity into this, and I think that's what I like. They don't really shy away from if rivalries occurred in WWE, if they occurred in New Japan, if they occurred
in WCW back in 90 what did it say, 96, 98.
Yeah, Jericho doesn't give a damn, especially on commentary when somebody he used to wrestle with in the WWE is on in the match. He's like, "Yeah, I used to wrestle with him in another place, all kinds of shit." Like, he has no problem with dropping that in. Right. Not saying WWE, but letting people know exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah, that's and I think it's just, I don't know, man. It was
always whack when the WWE commentators would say they wrestled in Japan. Cool.
All right. Yeah. Well, that's what made Morrow so good in NXT. Morrow had that same kind of thing of just acknowledging where they actually came from and having so much knowledge about each person. He announced, he commentated the way that a commentator for a combat sport commentates, right? Like, they know their history, they know their past, they know other promotions that they were a champion in, and this guy was a Bellator champion and this guy was UFC. These are things that someone like Morrow is going to know and is going to reference during a match.
He knows the training, he knows the moves. Jesus Christ, I am so, if it wasn't for Beth Phoenix, the NXT commentary is so shit. They just say knee strike, they say fist, they say foot to face.
Yeah.
I'm like, their moves.
The edict is probably not to call moves. It's probably just to tell story. Don't worry about saying every fucking thing you see. Just get.
But they're still using Vince's old rhetoric, which is what a maneuver. Yeah. They continue to say what a maneuver. You don't know how to say 450 splash. You know how to say tope con hero. Hurricanrana, like stuff like that. They can't say super kick. They just have to say kick to face or something.
Again, something Excalibur really excels at.
Man.
But there is
so much so that he's going to be the new exclusive commentator for Rampage.
Right. Is that confirmed, or is that still just a rumor that's floating out there?
Well, it's going to be
not going to be on Dynamite anymore.
Right. It's going to be a 4-man booth on Rampage.
That sounds awful.
Yeah. But it's with Jericho, Mark Henry. Wow. And so Mark Henry, Jericho, I think, is a rotating, but they did say Excalibur, and I forget who the fourth one is.
I don't want
Google it.
I don't want a talk show going on while they're doing wrestling, and I feel
trying to get their shit in.
Yeah, it gets that way a bit when Taz comes out and he's out there with everybody on the mic. I think they do a good job of kind of relegating it to 3 people at a time, really being the focus.
Oh, and it is going to be Taz.
Yeah,
but dude,
so
you know what's
Henry,
hilarious?
Excalibur and
Jericho. It's gonna be Taz, Excalibur, Jericho's the rotating, and then Mark Henry.
Yeah, okay.
But have you guys watched enough episodes of AEW Dark to get the banter between Excalibur and Taz? It is lovely.
Yeah,
it is amazing. I love it.
Excalibur corrects Taz.
He calls him out on his shit all the time.
That's all I ever hear.
For it. My favorite is, that's not really orange, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a combination of red and green and yellow. You know what I mean? Orange Jones.
Oh, yeah. I've enjoyed so much of AEW lately, and I got behind on it, and I tend to get behind on it. I almost watch it like I do with NXT, where I miss 4 or 5 episodes and then I watch it all at once. This was, for me, like I said before, a really enjoyable period of time. I really got to see a lot of guys that they've worked on, going back to the Hangman Adam Page thing. Darby Allin, that's a dude that they've just absolutely made into a star. Orange Cassidy, and these are guys that if they would have signed with WWE, where would Darby Allin be? 205 Live,
Evolve, still,
right? I don't know if you guys have seen it, but Darby Allin has the most amazing entrance video now. that's like a 30s black and white cartoon of him skateboarding down the street. It's fantastic. Yeah, it's really great.
Darby would be saddled with T-bar and mace.
Oh, no.
D-bar or some shit.
Right. Well, we were speaking of that. We were talking about that with like the Cruiserweight Classic today, and only 10 of the guys from the 32-man Cruiserweight Classic are still with the WWE.
That's more than I expect, actually.
Me too. But then when you realize that some of them were Gulak and Gargano and Ciampa, those aren't guys that we traditionally think of as cruiserweight. So it's really like Mustafa Ali, Grand Metalik, Noam Dar. Like there's just the handful of guys that are
Dar's on UK. I imagine. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Haven't seen him in ages.
None of them are. I mean, Gargano and Ciampa are easily the ones that have succeeded the most, and they're still with NXT. None of the guys have really done much, and even both Daniel Bryan and Mauro Ranallo, the announcers for that tournament, are no longer with WWE as well.
It's true, man.
It's weird because I then thought about it a lot, and then I did a comparison, and there are more people from the 2014 Bola tournament in WWE signed right now than people from the Cruiserweight Classic. 13 of the 24 competitors from Bola that year in 2014 are signed by WWE.
Speaking of that, do you see the picture of Regal doing his recruiting up in the balcony at the Globe?
Oh, was he there again?
He's peering down like this. Like, it's so ominous looking. He doesn't look like he's having fun.
Awesome. Well, he didn't look like he was having fun when all he was doing was stick his nose out from the curtain in the back.
He's such a big wrestling fan. He doesn't have fun watching. He's actually analyzing what these people are doing professionally. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, this what Neo's pulling up right now is an all-time great moment for me in life, when the look on Eddie Kingston's face when
it was delicious.
Got to hug Sting in the middle of the ring.
You know what I love the most is how Sting was like so nonchalant. He's like, "No, I'm not. I don't need to put my hand up. This is for the boys."
Yeah,
no.
And then he just went in on, "Fuck it, we're doing it."
It was so sweet. He's like, "Wait. No, here you go, man. Here you go. Yeah." Like, this is the sweetest.
It's all about them, guys that wrestled in the match. I'm
that face that Sting makes when they are all three hanging on each other is hilarious.
Oh man, it's delicious.
Yes.
He's like, whatever.
Look at this. Look at Kingston.
Yeah, he's
like so rad.
Cocky upper lip.
Hey,
like, yeah, I'm smug as fuck.
Eddie Kingston made the same face any of us would have made if we ran across Sting in full face paint.
You're so right, dude. You're so absolutely right.
I would be like, Steve, why are you wearing full face paint right now?
He's like, for the photo ops, man. Yeah. I will say that moment though showed how much those guys are still fans of wrestling. Like, that was such a little kid moment for 100%. Eddie Kingston right there, right? 100%. That guy is a guy that's absolutely been living his best life in AEW. Like, yeah, on one hand, he's not gonna be a champion or anything, right? Maybe he'll be a tag champion or something like that. Maybe
don't speak so soon, buddy.
I know,
with the right storyline, he can be AEW champ.
And that's the thing with AEW. I feel like with the right story, anybody can be any of their champion at any point. Miro had a terrible debut, I feel like, with
that storyline sucks.
Yeah, and what did they do? They were like, yeah, this sucks, let's scrap it and go in a different direction, right?
But let's also remember how he scrapped it though.
Yeah, true.
They scrapped it and it looked great, and therefore the argument could be made like, man, they really
they capitalized on getting rid of it or going away from it. Definitely,
like they really, like, some people were
Kip
saying,
even
like,
on TV anymore?
No, he's dead.
Oh yeah, he died.
He's fucking dead.
Yeah,
he did.
And Penelope's nowhere, right?
Penelope actually, Penelope has only is like 18-2 in her last 20 matches.
Dude, she can go.
Yeah,
she can go.
I am in love with her.
In love with Penelope.
I love her more than I love members of my own family.
Oh, that's great.
Lana,
that's a hell of a confession.
There's a new hot blonde in my heart. But meanwhile, on the other side of debuts being bad and Miro and Lana, there is the almost perfect debut that has occurred for Malakai Black. I can't think of a better way to introduce a new, person in your promotion than giving them the absolute fucking rocket strapped to their back. I think that this guy was already perfect in WWE, and I'm still baffled how they fumbled the bag and how they didn't see it in him. At one point, they were doing vignettes with Aleister Black in a church in a fucking suit, and it was awesome. And yet we got to a point where they were just half-assing the little levitating board that got him up during his entrance so much that you could hear the mechanics in it.
The mechanical world.
No, they added that stupid creaking sound effect.
Oh, that was right. That's right.
Oh, there you go.
Sound effect, right?
Yeah.
I mean, meanwhile,
so bad.
And that's all because they were like, "Fuck it, we don't have enough smoke to hide the board anymore." You know.
Yeah, they wanted to save money on the fog machine.
The fog. You know, this guy. Every time I've ever seen him in my life, he has wowed me. He has been a guy that I've said will be an absolute star no matter where he goes.
He fights in satin boxer shorts.
Oh, those are
the sexiest.
Those are fucking Sagat shorts right there.
After he's done kicking your face, he's going there to make love to your lady.
Oh no!
He came in and kicked the shit out of Cody Rhodes, and I mean, first of all, you can never say that Rhodes doesn't do the job, because man, that guy single-handedly has made people a star based on the fact that everybody thinks it's going to be the LOL Cody wins situation, and it's not, right? I mean, in this case, he didn't have
feelings about.
He got squashed.
But Cody totally overshadowed the moment as well by doing the fake ass fucking retirement bit, and then they take all the heat away from that as well by having fucking Malakai come out there and lay him out again. Like,
that was
it was just so overbooked. I still enjoyed it, but it's overbooked.
Hey, it was the last segment.
Yeah, it's true.
In my opinion, it was the last segment. You might as well hook him a little bit more.
No one thought Cody was retiring. Even
you gonna let nobody retire.
Here's what it is. Because Cody can now go away for however much time he wants to, right? There's no preconditioned time. I mean, shit, man, when is Moxley going to take some time off? Isn't his baby been born? And it felt like they were going to write him off with the exploding barbed wire match. And that motherfucker, I don't think has missed a Dynamite.
He works 15 minutes a week. He's okay.
I know. That's a point. Doesn't seem like he would be the most into a baby anyway kind of guy, right?
Renee, I just gotta go beat up people. I'll be back in a day.
You know what? He's probably got some really good direct flights from Vegas to Jacksonville.
Yeah,
he probably flies Southwest or something.
Oh, come on. Moxley does not fly Southwest. How dare you?
Spirit.
He at least flies Delta.
Everyone booed here, and I don't think it's because they were booing because they thought he was retiring. They're booing like, no, you're doing this. Boo.
See, you know what's wild is that
I like Cody okay too. It just kind of corny.
Speaking of Bola, he did this bit at Bola where he had special boots made that had the Bola printed on the side of them, and he took one off and gave it to a girl in the crowd. It was also the same time where he threw his mask off and I caught it. And then one of the guys from PWG made me give it to him. And then Cody texted me later and told me I was supposed to keep the mask. And why did I give it back? But it was a really cool moment when he left the boot. And it's kind of funny that he was doing it again.
Little callback.
No, this is different. That was him generally giving a gift to somebody. This was him pretending to do a retirement angle. It's silly.
Well, the boot thing was him saying that he was going to return, actually.
He was supposed to put one boot in, James.
Right.
He put two boots down, though.
No, he took one boot off, Beek.
One boot
and
off.
The intent was
he was going for the second boot.
Yeah, he was teasing it.
He was gonna do the Undertaker bit.
He was titillating.
Motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's what he was
doing. Cody's like, the way we get him is I pretend to retire, and this motherfucker comes and gets me.
So dumb.
Kills him.
Exactly what happened. I love the drama of wrestling too. It's nice, but I just found it was Cody being Cody. Cody loves the Cody.
I think he sincerely is going to take a significant time away, but who knows? Because
I think he should. I think he should.
Time could be a month, but
he did hint in his promo that the infighting between the EVPs was actually legit, even though at one point they tried to say in the storyline that didn't really happen. Apparently,
you fucking believe that? You fucking.
Which part am I believing?
The EVPs are infighting.
No, they were for a period of time. That was because that was reported, and then they all denied it, and then in
Yeah.
Cody's speech, he kind of confirmed that was going on.
Yeah, sure. It's
It
because
could
he's
happen.
baby face and they're dick bags, right?
Again, there, you know, it's another. It's but
Oh,
it's
you think
another
that's
web.
that's what he was saying? The
Yeah.
infighting is how they become.
Yeah, they're
heels.
fucking assholes.
But it's another
Me
weave
and
in
Hangman
the web
now.
of
We're out here on
storyline.
the
If that's what
outside.
you're saying, okay, I get it.
All right.
You know.
Well, here's the thing. Cody seems to be both the most like unaware person I've ever seen, but then I feel like he's not.
Say it to my face, man.
Well, I just feel like he's not. No, I feel like he
That's
actually
how
knows
Riley
what
thinks.
he's doing and that everything is well thought out, right? But at so you know, it's kind of like the not thinking he looks like Homelander thing. You know,
That's a reach in my opinion.
that he looks like Homelander?
Yeah,
Are you shitting me?
that's a reach in
Are
my
you
opinion.
shitting
In that
me?
particular outfit, he 100%.
100%. He looks like he's cosplaying his
Even if he wasn't intending to do so, he did.
He did, right.
Like he can deny if he was saying, "Okay, I wasn't intending to do that."
Right.
But
I would definitely like eat my shoe if Cody can go on a podcast and said, "Yeah, I wanted to cosplay as Homelander." I would totally eat my shoe.
No,
I don't think he would ever admit
I understand
that was the
that,
intent. Yeah,
I totally understand that, Beek. I actually pray that your logic is correct, but I'm saying if he ever gets on a podcast and
oh
says,
my god, it'd be so
I
funny.
cosplays as Homelander, I will eat my
so
shoe.
dead on. It's so dead on. It's fucking impossible that it seems impossible that it's not. You know what I mean? It would be like Tegan Knox saying she had no idea she was wearing Captain Marvel's, you know, emblem on her chest on every one of her fucking gear, or you know, Johnny Gargano being like, what Marvel outfits that I've worn to take over?
Like he
you
just
know?
found out that somebody's been designing all these
Yeah.
costumes based off these characters. Wait,
the red robot. Yeah, I like Red Robot. No, man, that was Iron Man. Wait, no,
Yeah.
I just thought it was Red Robot.
Yeah,
Right. No.
you know I like hearts.
Yeah. Shut up, Homelander. That's the other thing too, is the whole rivalry that he had with Anthony when they said that was supposed to take place, Anthony Ogogo in the UK. Like it was supposed to take place in the UK, and you were still going to be the face. What?
Yeah.
Like what?
It's like you're going with this nationalistic outfit, hurrah, hurrah, America, and people aren't like that anymore.
America's
It makes
number
you a
one.
heel.
Well,
It makes you a heel.
I feel like he's truly an actually wholesome person, and I feel like he means what he says sometimes. You know, like it does suck, right? We're all Americans. We don't want the image of America to be Proud Boys and shit, fucking Homelander. We don't want that, you know.
Proud Boys, fucking Homelander. Hell no, I
Yeah,
don't want to see that shit at all.
We don't want that.
Somebody wants to see that. Actually, probably somebody wants to see that.
There's probably a porn category for that
Yeah,
kind of
there you
thing
go.
already. I just mean that, you know, it's like we all want to take pride in our country that we live in. It just, the country we live in makes it hard to be prideful about it, right? And I think that's the thing that seems kind of short-sighted when you're defending America, talking about how much you love it. It's like, yeah, I mean, I get it. You have a great life. You're very famous and rich. I would love America too if I were you, but not the rest of us all don't have that same luck to have that great of a life, you know. Anyway, I still really like Cody, and I still think that his faux retirement will result in a good storyline. I think that I have that confidence because of how good the storylines have been in regards to everything else they're doing. You know, I think that they've really put a lot of, like, I can't believe that we're finally at the end of the Adam Page Dark Order thing. And I know we're not 100% because they'll always do callbacks and stuff, but it feels like they're going to move on from this whole thing. It was just a cool story. The whole thing of Adam Page essentially feeling like he didn't need anybody.
Remember when you were a jobber in ROH and we brought you into the Bullet Club?
Right.
They should have Johnny Hungy in the back like Wolverine with a picture of Adam Page.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I did want to touch on the news that happened in regards to some negative stuff in both AEW and WWE, and most of it concerned the good old heel promo of going in on current topics, right?
And old ones as well.
and old ones as well. When it comes to Max Caster in AEW, doing a pretty tasteless rap on Dark that involved several things people didn't like. And Charlotte Flair making some similar comments about Simone Biles on Raw. So what are your guys' thoughts on the way this all shook out?
Well, Charlotte, she was just trying to get people to understand her situation by comparing herself to Simone Biles, which is
she was plugging a
tone deaf in one way. But Max Caster is just like, during an event that was for sexual abuse survivors, he made sexual abuse jokes in his rap. And I know people say these are heels gonna heal, but that's not how we heal these days, guys. This is just cheap heat. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
Yeah, let's see if this works. Because I just pulled this clip. Hold on 1 second.
He claimed kicking ass for miles. She could claim mental health like Simone Biles.
Yeah.
The side gal's gonna pay the cost. I'ma treat those bitches like Duke Lacrosse. The blondes say they the best, but those dudes are faker than a PCR test. And what's that spell?
COVID denying test.
Oh, wait, that's Julia's. Oh!
He was gonna say vagina. What a pervert. What a pig.
A 32-year-old man making fun of a
cheerleader's vagina.
Vagina. Yeah.
You guys, I know we grew up in the Attitude Era. People are like, oh, you grew up in the Attitude Era. Some of that shit was we were like kids, and we were like,
but you can't be that way. You can't be that way no more, dude.
I was 16.
Don't evolve
during the Attitude
Are
Era.
you telling me that I have to still like dick and fart jokes? I do. But rape jokes and sexual abuse jokes and making fun of women and debasing them, that's just kind of...
You know how many people I told to suck it when I was growing up? There was no consent there. Okay? You were in the wrong. If you're telling people to suck it and there wasn't consent...
I think it's weird because the Simone Biles line is obviously tasteless, but the I'm gonna treat those bitches like Duke Lacrosse line is really like, that's just not even factually accurate.
Wasn't Simone one of the girls who were molested by the doctor who was fucking she wasn't? She was at the last class because he was in there fucking forever.
I don't know. I know what you're talking about. I was confusing the two situations that you were talking about, but no, I don't know. I think the bigger thing though is like we talked about before we got on air, Caster just really has bad raps, but I think he does a good job with the rapping gimmick. He just
she Larry Nassar also assaulted her. So he not only insulted her, who was a sexual assault victim, then made a sexual assault joke during a show to help a sexual assault victim. Like, what the fuck? Right. And you know, somebody was like, well, it's a show for that. It'll be like, you can make a joke like that because you're a heel. It probably got past somebody. There's no way. You think Max went out there on his own?
Well, Tony Khan. It was reported that Tony Khan was kind of in the dark.
It's not even reported. He was on an interview. He was interviewed, and he specifically said,
"Oh, okay,
it's because it was dark." That
some producer probably heard it though. There's I doubt that he just went out there.
Here's the problem, though: is Tony had. I will give him credit for this, and of course, I'm an apologist for anybody that treats me nice or whatever. But I'll say I give Tony Khan credit because he said that he would never have allowed this to happen on Dynamite because he personally oversees like all the scripts, all the everything. Like, they don't give scripts; they just give bullet points. So in some cases, the only scripting that they would even review is something like Max Caster's rap,
which is clearly scripted. Absolutely. Right. You're not doing that off top of the dome.
Right. And they are making sure that they go through it and it's okay and approved. I guess from what he said during the interview, TK is going to take over editing of Dark now because of this, because he's so disappointed in the way that not only did this make it onto Dark or make it in the front of a live crowd, but it should, like he said, it should have been edited out. It should have never made it.
Honestly, even before like these raps, I always thought some of his raps, like Beek was saying, they were like just mad childish. like even if you didn't like rap, and let's just say Tony Khan was reading his like his flashcard about what he's writing, like I'm pretty sure TK would have been like, no, get this out of here, write something more better, write something more clever.
Yeah, they are edgy, like edgelord shit, dude, and it has happened.
Super edgelord shit.
But sometimes he has had good lines like that even were kind of edgy. That maybe like, okay, that's stepping over the bounds a little bit, but I can still get it. But
sounds kind of cool.
Yeah,
but
it's usually when it's more attacking that person directly and not also involving like
throwing in popular culture situations.
Yeah, well, no, just not unnecessarily attacking other things too, or bringing other things into it, right?
John Cena used to do that shit. He talked about like the popular culture shit to slam somebody, but yeah, this is just not the same person wielding that technique.
It's mostly done for that edge, right? I mean, it feels like he needs to get something in there that pushes the envelope.
You guys said it perfectly, like just before we started the show. It's cheap heat, very cheap heat.
It's cheap heat, yeah. It's the same thing with Charlotte making the comparison. It's tone deaf, but you have to know that she knows it's tone deaf.
And she bailed out eventually. She stopped talking about Simone Biles. So we're like, okay, let's move on.
Yeah. Well, it's weird, right? I mean, they haven't been used to performing in front of a live crowd, and when that live crowd goes dead on you like that, and they start looking at each other like, what the fuck?
And the WWE, they love to like sprinkle in the popular culture situations, but some of them you just should avoid. There's no reason to get involved in that.
Yeah. It's one of those situations where like I would even play the clip, but they'll probably take our video down. So not gonna risk it.
Yeah, you'll just have to go watch WWE to see that.
Go look at their Twitter account.
Use your Google.
I was talking to my wife about like what got me into WCW back in the day, when I stopped watching wrestling. We were just having a fun conversation about that, and it's weird how, as I was discussing that, I realized how the pattern has kind of come back around again, right? When I was little, I was wrestling broke my heart when I found out it was fake, right? So I stopped watching it, and I had brothers that would tease me about it, so I would never be seen watching it or liking it. I'd still like play wrestling video games and shit though, because I always liked wrestling. Then like some time passed, and I was with my dad in Puerto Rico, and the whole NWO thing was going on. And I remember just flipping through the channels and seeing Hulk Hogan talking mad shit and having people boo him and throw trash at him. And I was like, this is the fucking greatest thing ever. What time is this on at? I am not missing next week's episode. And I don't think I've missed wrestling since, right? But there was a time where WCW grew kind of the same kind of thing that I feel now about WWE. And AEW seems to be that alternative for me that still gets me excited about wrestling. Like when WCW grew
so good,
long in the tooth, I had a friend that was like calling me and being like, you got to see this Stone Cold Steve Austin guy. He's
come on back.
Yeah, he's telling me he's kicking his boss in the nuts and fucking drinking beers and shit. I'm like, well, shit. I'll check that out. And then
where the comparison with WCW is good, because whereas AEW is relying on popular indie talent, WCW just went and plucked all the awesome luchadors out of Mexico to get that same fast-paced stuff. You know what I mean?
You're absolutely right. Like that's what the big pop for me was with Jericho and Juventud. Like I watched all of that. I loved all of that. The whole Jericho, Malenko, Juventud era, and just a lot of those guys, Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio. I remember being introduced to so many of those guys by WCW, and that's really what I watched. I remember that last hour of Nitro just really dragging and always being a disappointment at the end. I mean, even though I was into all of the who's going to join the NWO and Swerve shit and all the stuff they were doing, it was rarely worth staying up that late to catch that last final hour.
Yeah, it was usually, well, I guess I'm going to catch fucking Sting or DDP, catch a beat down again.
Yeah, right. That's basically what it was.
Catch a beat down again.
Yeah. I think the difference with this is every rivalry they book on AEW, I feel like it's fun, and I want to see it. They'll advertise that this match is going to be next week, or this match is going to be later in the night, and I actually find myself getting excited about it. I enjoy the crowd. the crowd looks like they're having a fun time versus whatever the hell's happening a lot of times at WWE shows. You know, like there's been a new fan sign renaissance happening in AEW. Yes, yeah, there's that, but there's also like this wonderful like array and mixture of old people and young people, and they all know every single word to Judas. You know, like
God, I think that's on my bucket list to sing Judas in an AEW show.
Oh yeah, it was so good. I sang right in Mega Ran's ear, so loud,
because so much. Like I'll share a Super Mark secret, but when I hear the fans like take over Judas and sing it, I don't know, it gives me goosebumps. Really
I love the smirk that comes on Chris Jericho's face every time he comes out and looks at the crowd. He has this overwhelming shit-eating grin that he is so pleased with what he's done. He's like,
but he doesn't want to smile 100%.
Right, he doesn't. Yeah, he's like trying to hold it back, but he can't help himself because he's just so full of joy with these people all singing this song that he wrote and sang. It's incredible,
Yeah, Jericho loves him, Jericho.
He really does. He really does. And his wife's Judas. Twitter account, by the way, is literally her name. It's a name and a bunch of numbers. Fucking Trump supporter.
Exactly the kind of tweets you would expect.
Oh my God. But again, this kind of goes back to a lot of those decisions. Jericho is one of those people that at times I really feel like I shouldn't like. And I don't care because I do like him. And that's kind of what life sometimes is about, right? We have friends that nobody likes them. Your wife doesn't like them. Your girlfriend doesn't like them. They don't want, you're like, I don't care. I still like them, And Chris Jericho seems to be that for me until he fucking probably ruins that in a year or two anyway. But still, I love it. And I've enjoyed, that rivalry with him and MJF. MJF just gets stronger every single fucking week too. Just as far as like being in front of the crowd and like his persona and this just shitty little Maximilian fucking character that he is. It's great. I don't really have too much bad to say about AEW because I feel like they've rejuvenated a bit of my love for pro wrestling, and it was just a little 5-episode binge watch that I went on, but man, I really enjoyed everything I saw.
I honestly think I would not be watching WWE right now if AEW didn't exist. Like, AEW is good enough to keep me interested in watching the bad WWE. Like, if I was only watching bad WWE, I'd be like, fuck, I don't think I can do this anymore. Like, I am not getting any joy out of this. Or now I can at least angrily watch it or enjoy the small things I actually enjoy. You know what I mean?
If it wasn't for this show, I would not watch WWE.
I feel that.
Just because like I watch it and I think, in the back of my mind, I want to be surprised by WWE, and I am holding out for like NXT and SmackDown. But like, do I go out of my way to watch it? No, but I'll go out of my way to watch AEW.
WWE deciding to go with Goldberg as Bobby Lashley's opponent at SummerSlam instead of Keith Lee tells me all that I need to know about WWE. Now, I guess one of the criticisms I will say that's very valid lately is that WWE has done a much better job at having people of color be champions and be featured more. AEW still has, I think, a lot of work there to go, right? And there was a video that came out and was popular on the Twitter that was calling it all elite whites or something like that. But there is some criticism there because they don't really put a lot of people of color in a position of being a champion or whatever. I'm sure that's going to change with them, and I think that their roster really is getting a better mix, right? But when you look at what WWE is doing, WWE has done a great job, honestly, like just over the last year or so of featuring more people of color and having Black champions and Latino champions and everything like that. So at least WWE is moving in a step in the right direction. It's but just
what I will say as a defender that if you don't watch AEW Dark, if you don't watch AEW Dark Elevation, you don't know what you're missing out because there's been lots of representation like on those shows.
Why we got to watch the people of color on the show called Dark though?
Yeah, That's racist.
No, don't do that.
No, he's right. No, he's right.
I'm just pointing out an ironic situation, not a legitimate situation.
Yeah. I just,
you know what I mean? I'm not fishing. I'm not fishing. No problem.
I'll just go ahead and retract my previous statement.
There you go.
I don't want to be part of this anymore.
All right. He washes his hands of it.
Nope.
I'll say this though.
Diving into that.
I'm really, I guess that it's not that surprising, and wrestling unfortunately has been like that for entirely too long. I guess I'm surprised by WWE beating AEW kind of to the punch when it comes to featuring, you know, more champions that are Black and Latino and people of color, right? Asian champions. WWE's just done it. Now, it's not to say AEW hasn't, you know, but it's just it would be nice to see more. You know what
I am liking is Andrade trying to get the Lucha Bros on his side. Yeah. And then I was watching the segment where I saw it was Ray, it was Penta, it was Alex, it was Dasha, it was Chavo, it was Andrade.
Yeah.
All these Latinos or Latinx, community
Don't do
on
that.
My screen. I was like,
don't do that.
Fine. We're going somewhere.
No, and that's exactly my point. Like, I don't think that AEW isn't capable of it. And I think AEW got criticized because they kind of talked a big game beforehand. And then when push came to shove, eventually we got around to LOL, all the whites win, right? So,
but there is diversity, though.
You can't there is diversity
for that.
But they're not putting them all in the same storyline and all in the same group potentially.
Because Sunny Kiss isn't as relevant, but Nyla Rose has been a champion.
Yeah, I think if you're picking out the few that have been or are on other shows,
Riho,
you're still doing it right.
But also think about this. How long does it take to WWE
they were
to get
long
there?
champions.
It's taken the WWE forever to get there,
exactly.
whereas AEW is still a young company.
You're right.
They need to actually invest in some of these. And they have tried to, like Swole, like they were definitely getting behind her before she got
But
hurt.
Riho and Shida, they've held the women's championship title for a very long time.
Yeah, but the credibility for Riho is like limited because she like all of a sudden then she's gone for forever.
Well, I mean the pandemic.
Yeah, understandably.
But Shida was also that placeholder, and she was champion for a very long time.
Yeah, she's a badass.
Mm-hmm.
Are you done?
Jeez. We can't have any commentary.
Fuck you.
About this fucking guy.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I'm done too. That's all. I was gonna ask.
Let's close up this fucking podcast then.
Let's fucking wrap it up.
What's the fucking winner of the week, Derek? Apparently.
Yeah. No, fuck you. What's your winner of the week, Beek?
I pick Matt Cardona as the winner of the last couple weeks because he got over huge. He's a champion. He got featured in a beer commercial. This guy, his girlfriend is pretty fun.
What the hell, man? That was my winner of the week.
No, your winner is Pabst. You can tie it on. You can jump off.
Okay, sorry.
I was doing some synergy, brother.
So on that synergy, my winner of the week is Pabst Blue Ribbon for including some wrestling in their commercials. I loved it. It was great. Like Derek said, it reminded me of Schlitz Gay.
It was a terrible commercial.
The old SNL skit. It was fantastic. I just like to see that, there's brands acknowledging wrestling because again, it's a ripple in what could happen for some of these, wrestling guys and gals.
Well, my winner of the week is Yuka Sakazaki because that would be the one. Damn it. No, I didn't. That's not what I meant. It was just the one Asian wrestler you guys didn't mention. I want to go with Malakai.
Who has the best wrestling and the best wrestling theme song in the world?
The greatest thing ever. I love her so much.
Yuya, has the best one.
I love her. But I thought Malakai Black's debut was incredible. I think that he talked about what his vision was, right? We heard when he did that Twitch stream about what he had plans to do when he was still in WWE. I felt like we saw him come to fruition with that entrance, with the skull mask, with just everything, right? I think that the way he handled Cody Rhodes was the exact kind of debut you want for somebody of his level. It pushes him right into, the main event picture as far as I'm concerned. But it's just really great to see somebody like him immediately just take over right where he left off, including the eye bit, which again, that's the kind of continuity in pro wrestling that I just can't get enough of. This guy just determined that his eye had in fact been poked out, and that's the way he's going to live the rest of his pro wrestling career. He's like Sandman, the time
that's
Sandman
continuity
and stayed inside.
It's growing back.
It's growing back, right?
He got better.
Ice and a little accolado and some.
I'm excited to see Cody with his black hair. By the way, he's coming back with the black hair. He's dead now or something.
No, he's going to come back. He's going to come back with red hair or gray hair this time around. Beek.
The red, silver look.
Yeah, he'll do that.
Actually, him with the silver, the over the top silver look that people do nowadays.
Hell yeah, dude! Some of that stuff looks freaking cool.
Yeah,
like Camille Brickhouse.
Oh my goodness!
With that little she's my winner of the week.
What's her name?
Layla Hirsch.
There you go.
I said it.
I like
Camille is fine as hell.
She's 4'11".
All right, let's not end the show just being creepy.
Let's be creepy. Camille Brickhouse is only 5'10", by the way.
What?
Yes.
Layla made her look 6'6".
She wasn't heels, so she was probably more like 6'2", 6'3". But yeah, she absolutely made her look like she was 8.5 feet tall.
Someone posted on Twitter some really creepy stuff when in comparison of that segment.
Yes, that one meme, but the big girl holding up the little tiny girl. Yeah, we all seen it.
I seen it.
All right, Derek,
let's get out of here.
I was just gonna look at that meme. It's fine. We don't have to do that now.
Do the things about the things.
Oh, God bless you, Lauren Phillips. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to episode 447 of the Steel Cage podcast. Remember, kids, you can check us all out on the Twitters and the social medias. I am at Cap_Caveman with a K. Neo is at the Neo X with an ECKS at the end. Look at that evolution. That's beautiful right there. And of course, Uncle Beek is at James Vanderbeek, Jaims Vanderbeek. But like always, all roads lead to at the Steel Cage. Please send us an email to the steel podcast at thesteelcage.com, or check out our shops. If you're interested in one of our soft style t-shirts, you can get those at thesteelcageshop.com or at Beek store at pentagonzo.com, which, by the way, I saw today a beautiful WWF television shirt that you sold to our friend Tori. So great job.
Thanks, Vic.
Check out all of his amazing shirts on there, as well as Unfunny Nerd Tangent that recently covered Masters of the Universe on Netflix. And I mean, I could sit here and promise you more episodes of Snack Podcast. I promise you they're done. They're just on my computer, and I am just entirely too lazy and busy to post them, but they'll be up there soon.
I was on that Unfunny Nerd Tangent show. It was
yeah. Did you guys have was that a good one?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
They actually got funny on that one. It was crazy.
No, they did not. I don't but thank you guys again for listening to The Steel Cage. And remember, kids, I'm motivated by two things in this world: a vengeful God and my double-jointed wife.
R.I.P. Bobby E.
Yeah, you push me to